It's just like that Star Trek episode where they had the evil Kirk and the good Kirk, and they end up fighting. I mean, that's actually really true. I mean, it is just a reverse universe. These people are showing us a world that they want us to perceive to be reality.
Yeah, like unemployment being 8.6 they're reporting.
Oh, 8.6. Really?
8.6. I find that so hysterical. I mean,
how many people are unemployed?
I mean, it's
somewhere around 18 million people. So that's that's how many people are unemployed that are.
I know there's like 52, 54 million on food stamps. There's so
it's increasing
people.
Every month, and the Rockefellers love it, and so does Bank of America and the Rothschilds. Oh, they love it because they get paid every time you use that debit card when you get that food stamp. Ranting like crazy today, brother. I can't help it.
Pumped up.
I am really pumped up for. I mean, it is going to be a strong year because we're coming out with all guns blazing. Just partners in liberty, because you see they cannot kill an idea. That's time has come, and this is it, man. I'm sick and tired of this fucking bullshit. And I'm just tired of people that dispute it, that ridicule it. I have friends that post things that are jokes about it, or make a joke about, I'm making the Club of Rome, and he says, does that include a hand or a foot? A club, like isn't like a club foot. I mean, just come on, wake up to the reality that there is a Club of Rome, that there is an agenda to depopulate the world, and it's happening as we speak. Like when we were talking in the beginning of this time. Regarding the Fukushima. Let's get the criminal federal regulations raised to accept levels that are way above acceptable levels today, but we're going to raise them because now we have Fukushima. It's like John Kerry saying we're having no military action in Libya. We're just going to bomb strategic targets. It's doublespeak. It's Orwellian. I mean, George Orwell. I mean, read that book. Read it a few times if you don't get it the first time. You'll get it. It's all there. There's the whole different types of people, the plebes, all these different, proletariats.
And that was science fiction. And
it was not science fiction, but it was written right. It was written as science fiction, but Eric Blair knew what was going on, and he knew where we were coming, and he was off by a couple of decades, but not far off. I mean, so instead of it being 1984, maybe it could potentially be 2024. We could be enslaved in this system like this. Because people like me and people like him, we'll be dead. We'll be gone. We'll just disappear. They'll vanish us, literally. Erase our history. Erase all our YouTube videos. Erase the 104,000 minutes that people have been watching on live stream Truth Talk News this month. Gone. Erase our identities.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of that. I mean, you got the Facebook guy, you got the Twitter guy, you got Amazon, the owners of these websites and everything all coming out. And, a lot of these people we know are multi-millionaires.
Billionaires.
And they're friends with a lot of these people, let's be honest. And even them are like, you can't do this to the internet. Like, this is going to be really bad. This is something too, besides... they could come and kick in the door, that's one, and the other one is the internet.
Jay Rockefeller says we have to do this because we can't control it. It's a threat.
It's scary with a controlled internet.
Oh my God, that's the whole thing. But that's where they're going. Listen, we cannot. That's it. That's it. That's when you have to realize when they the minute that and they're coming for this, ladies and gentlemen. This is not. I know it's like two people ranting here for 19 minutes and 5 seconds, but it's not true. We're not ranting. We're just like urgently pleading, okay, that you listen to us and research these things that we're talking about. For example, just to like tone it down a little, I am going to cover in the second hour. I'm going to go over the details of the Club of Rome and the Council of 300. I did a whole long segment last Saturday's broadcast. But I missed a few points, and then it leads into the Committee of 300, which again is all part of this eugenics movement through the vaccines. Now, again, on record, it's just over and over again. There are links everywhere to vaccines causing problems, to being used as weapons. Chavez, we have the Chavez's notes here and there somewhere. He's thinking that the people are going to try. There are. The CIA does have weapons. They tried to poison Castro. This has really happened with cancer. So people are like, oh, this guy's a fucking nut, Chavez. You see how the media makes you think these things? These slide responses that the CIA have designed through Project Mockingbird and Monarch and others, okay, to mind control you, to accept their position.
And that's why, like I said, opposite.
This is like the truth, the deepest truth.
If they're talking like he's a monster, he's the opposite.
Well, not that he. Well, I listen. Chavez is a communist. You know, I'm not for that whole
agree,
thing. But
why are they so mad at him?
Well, because
there's a lot of communists out there.
Oh no.
They're mad at him because he doesn't do exactly what he.
He doesn't follow the. Yeah, they're after him. They're gonna kill him. Watch. He's the next one. They're gonna have a revolution and kill. You watch. Oh yeah. They're working on it. Believe me.
Because if he was doing what he was told, then they would say he was a great person. It has nothing to do with him being communist or anything.
Yeah. At least he gives heating oil to people. The government, Rockefeller doesn't give anybody anything. He doesn't give any heating oil to the struggling senior citizens. At least he does something.
He did, and I think a lot of that also had to do with. It was really with it had a lot to do actually with depopulation.
Of course!
They were trying to do something.
But Guatemala! He knows! Yeah. Guatemala's right there!
And that's why he said no.
They gave millions of children syphilis and AIDS and other diseases in Peru and Guatemala, Peru, Honduras. I mean, this is on record. You can Google all this stuff. This is why it's Truth Talk News. All right, I think honestly this is the most I've ever ranted ever in the 4 months I've been on the air. 5 months. Okay, this is We Are Change, and you're listening to you're watching and listening to Howard Nema and Vinny Bdatruth, and we're going to try to focus a little bit. Why don't you do some news read a couple of news reports here and
this one was interesting to me. This is about China, slave state where the family is outlawed and the rich breed is secret. A controversial case in China where a couple with 8 children was found out exposed that reality that a strict one-child policy is really a double standard which the rich pay to populate the future while the eugenic slaves state cracked down on the family and restricts the reproduction rights of the masses.
Well, that's right. They have a one-child policy, right? Which is what the UN wants to mandate, basically, for all the third world.
And what they're saying too, though, is it's one-child policy for the slaves.
Oh, yeah, for the slaves.
But you got the rich are going to pay money or find ways. And in this article, it gets to where they have people that are actually having 3-4 babies, like doing things to have a different mother give birth for a rich family, impregnate the woman with this rich person's baby, she give birth to it, and then the rich family gets it, all in secrecy.
Right.
So, even like the vaccine show we did, where I was saying in Britain after a while, the rich were getting write-offs to where, well, we don't got to get vaccinated like the slaves, right?
Right.
And, we don't have to have just one kid like the slaves, right?
Right.
And it's the same thing, double standards, and us down here.
Well, it all comes into play, though, with the Club of Rome and the Council of 300, the Committee of 300, because of the fact that the depopulation aspect of it, and that is exactly...
2 people only have 1 kid.
Right.
I mean, it's just mathematics after a while, what those numbers are going to look like.
Right, exactly. And, it's not that they have this evidence that we are overpopulated, because the world is not overpopulated. It is the biggest myth. There's no global warming. In fact, they just showed the most cutest
cooling.
Cooling, exactly. And they showed the most beautiful little baby polar bears that were born. They put it all over the internet. Oh, look at these beautiful polar bears. They're polar bear. You're led to believe by the eugenist
and Al Gore.
By the eugenist Prince Bernard and Prince Philip, who's founded the World Wildlife Fund, that these poor polar bears are on this little tiny piece of ice and they're floating and they're going to drown and you believe that. For years you've seen it and you believe it. But it's not true. because the population from 1980 has actually increased. Okay? So, and they're going to say, well, that's because of our efforts. It's not because of their efforts. It's a fraud. They just take the money and utilize it to clamp down further on society and to put into programs like chemtrails. Where do you think the money comes from for all these covert activities for geoengineering and all of this insidious Mengele type stuff that's going on with the scientific research of the CIA and
one
others.
of the things I always think about too with global warming that always made me laugh, I never forget the statistic is, you could take all the factories and everything from the beginning, from the whole world, take all of that pollution, and that would be nothing compared to just one volcano going off. How much carbon and damage that a volcano would do. So, we're not even really, I can't even see it being a slight debt, like,
it's not. It's
really.
also artificial scarcity. There's plenty of oil. In fact, like I said the other show, that they're actually drilling in North Dakota, and they're very profitable there. You want to go make $15 in McDonald's, $15 an hour. Go to Fargo.
McDonald's?
They do.
$7?
No.
You get paid $15 an hour at McDonald's?
In Fargo, North Dakota, there is the economy is so good in Fargo, North Dakota. No joke. They're paying $15 an hour to people to work in McDonald's. I kid you not. Look it up. Look up the governor of North, and it's not about oil only. They're out of the Federal Reserve System. They're not part of it, and you got to look into like, whoa, okay, what does that mean? They're not part of it. Did you ever notice? It's like it always says like on your credit card or something, Bank of North Dakota or Bank of South Dakota, because they are not part of this Federal Reserve fraud system. They don't work through that system, and they also have industries that actually pay. Interestingly enough. But I mean, not many people would want to live where the average temperature is like -15 in the wintertime. But it is true. Look it up. Fargo is one of the only places in the world where in the United States where there's total employment, or 98% total employment. It's incredible. All right. Digressing. Yeah, there's a lot of news here. I thought I had broken it down into actual news articles. You messed up the order. It's all right. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff going on. I was just talking about this.
With the debt and everything.
We can talk about the debts and here you go. Obama, even more debt and more store closings. Well, we know that Sears and Kmart are now closing stores. Here in Connecticut, so far they're not closing any stores, but it's estimated that they will be closing them shortly. So unfortunately, there's going to be more people losing jobs. Unemployment once again last month rose. This is going to be a trend, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to keep telling you that things are going to get better as they keep getting worse, to the point where there'll be no return from the misery. So if you haven't provided yourself for the fact that there's going to be shortages because there won't be as many shipments of food and shipments of toilet paper and shipments of other things like that.
Well, we can definitely see the price of gas is going to be going up with these things, with Iran and
there's $500 a barrel. It's going to be war. But they're working on really bringing this to the point where, oh my God. Now, this is their plan. This isn't my opinion. A lot of times people say, you're crazy, you think these things. I don't think these things. I've researched these things to be what they're planning. This is actually what they're planning to do. They're literally planning to make it such that the supply of food that we're so used to having here, even in America with all the abundance, fine. It won't get here though, because the prices are going to keep it from impossible for deliveries. It's going to put people out of business. You got to understand the way that they're thinking of this thing. Lindsey Williams went over this for years, and you're going to have this type of a thing, and then you're going to have this October surprise that they're planning, where that's where they're planning, like you were saying, sometime in September, going into Iran. So now we have even more debt. 15.194 trillion is where we're at.
That was another thing I was going to say. We were talking about.
They want to raise it another 1.2 trillion. Ron Paul wants to cut $1 trillion in the first year. Which would you rather do?
But yeah, I was going to say it was on this show we were talking about how the Federal Reserve and that whole thing with Christmas, right on Christmas when everybody was home, they passed the laws for the Federal Reserve, and we were saying, oh, watch what happens on this Christmas, and this Christmas I think it was like $300 billion the banks stole basically.
Yeah, they were.
So-
Yeah, they're giving them money. Again, they do this under the
300 billion.
table.